Susie, and today I'm going to be doing my February TBR, which is the books that I'm hoping to read in February. So I have a few that I'm carrying over from January and then a few new ones as well. And this is quite an ambitious TBR, but we're going to see what happens. If you're interested in seeing what I read last month and what I started last month, I will link my January wrap up down below. So I will briefly touch on the books that I started in January and I'm hoping to finish this month. So the first one is Rise of Ascension by Brandon Sanderson. This is book 2 in the Mistborn series, and it follows characters who can consume metals and gain abilities from them. And we have a crew of people and a couple of main characters in each book. And this is quite interesting. I really loved the first book. I have a review for it on my channel, so I will link that down below. And this book I wasn't enjoying as much, but as I've got towards the end, it has picked up. So I will probably post a review of this as well. But I am really near the end of it, so I should be able to finish it soon. Next is Graceland by Kristen Cashore, which is a YA fantasy series. And in this world, there are people who have Gracies, and this means that they are particularly good at something. And the main character is particularly good at killing people, but she doesn't want to kill people, and so she tries to incapacitate them instead. And at the beginning, we're following her as she tries to free someone. And I think that she meets a character and things will change. But I'm not very far into that one so far, but I'm really enjoying it so far. It's really great and I can't wait to pick it up again. The next book is Three Dark Crowns by Kendall Blake, which is a YA fantasy as well, I think. It's a dark fantasy. And you follow 3 characters who are heir to the throne. And when they were young, they were shipped off to different places and they are trained to use a different ability. So you have one that is trained to use poisons, one that can use the elements, and one that can kind of communicate with animals and plants, I think. And when they come of age, they will have to fight each other, and one will win and they will win the throne. And this has been happening for centuries. So it is quite dark, it's interesting so far, but I haven't been that compelled to pick it up, which is why I've been reading it in some of my Read With Me videos. So I will link those down below if you want to check them out as well. But they have been really helpful to help me to read more. So it's another one I hope to finish this month. And then lastly from January I have The Rise of Kyoshi by FCE. And this is a prequel novel to the show Avatar The Last Airbender. And you follow the character who is an avatar before Aang. You follow her from childhood. And there's a case of mistaken identity and no one knows that she is the avatar. And I don't think she knows herself from where I've got to in the book. And in this world people can use elements. But the avatar is the only one that can use all 4. And so far this is really interesting. I just need to pick it up again. So on to the new books I want to start this month. So the first one is The Humans by Matt Haig, which is a sci-fi, and you follow an alien who comes to Earth and wants to find out more about being human. And I've heard that this is just a funny sci-fi, and I think it's going to be a nice light-hearted read hopefully. So I think I'm going to check that one out this month as well. Then we have Avatar The Last Airbender, The Promise Part 2, and this is a comic set after the show Avatar The Last Airbender. I read Part 1 last month, and the comics are separated into trilogies. So the first trilogy is The Promise, and I did quite like the first one. It was very short though, so I would recommend checking out the bind-ups unless you want to get these for the covers. And this just follows directly on from the show. And it's just great to find out more about what happened after the show. Then we have A Sprinkle of Sorcery by Michelle Harrison, which is book 2 in a series. The first one being A Pinch of Magic, which I read last year. This is a middle grade fantasy series and I absolutely adored the first one so much. I don't tend to read middle grade, but it made me want to read more. And you follow 3 sisters who each get a magical object and they find out that they are cursed. And the curse is that if they ever leave the island where they live, then they will die by sunset the next day. And then they end up in this situation that they don't want to be in, and it is scary at times. There is a villain in it and they have to try to find out if there's a way to break the curse. And there was an element in the first book that I absolutely loved in books, so I loved it so much, and I'm really hoping that I will love this one just as much. And I don't really know what happens in this book. I think it's more of an adventure, but I am really excited to read it, and I'm just hoping for a fun, light-hearted, whimsical read to read in February. Then I have Stranger Dreamer by Laini Taylor, and this was sent to me by Robin, so thank you again so much, Robin, for sending me this book. And this is another fantasy that follows a character who I think he works in a library, and he is asked to go on this expedition to this city where the name was lost and they now just call it Weep. And I know nothing else, but I know that a lot of people have loved this book. I do also have the other series by this author, The Daughter of Smoke and Bone, on my TBR. So I may end up just switching and trying that first this month instead of this one. But at the moment I am being drawn towards this book, so I think I'm going to check it out. And the last book is Game of Thrones by George R.R. Martin. This is the first book in the A Song of Ice and Fire series. And you probably know what Game of Thrones is about, but it's an adult fantasy with multiple points of view. And I have been meaning to read this for the longest time. I started reading it years ago and I got a bit into it, but then I just put it down. I didn't pick it up again. And I was actually engaged in what I was reading, so I'm hoping that if I pick it up again, I will still find it interesting. I have seen all of the series and I absolutely hated the ending of the series. So I'm hoping that George R. R. Martin changes the ending in his last book if it is going to get released. But I know that this is pretty similar to the show, but there are some different things that happen and there is a lot of extra information as well. And I'm just going to check it out and see if I do like it and if I want to continue with the series or not, because I've just had this on my TBR for ages and I really want to just find out if I want to read this series or not. It is very long, but I remember reading it quite fast when I was reading it before. So we will see, and I might read this in some of my Read With Me videos as well. So those are all the books I'm hoping to read in February. It may change because last month I did read a couple books that weren't originally on my TBR and I'm just picking up what I feel like. I'm also reading a few books at a time, so we will see what happens, but please let me know what you're hoping to read in February. And please feel free to like, comment and subscribe if you would like to, and check out my other videos if you would like to. Thank you so much for watching and I hope to see you in another video soon.